Okay, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the November 7th, 2023 meeting of the Litchfield Planning Board. Would you all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay. I will start with the roll call of members present. Michael Croto, Chair.
Kate Stevens, Vice Chair.
Jared O'Connell, member.
Sam Terrell, member.
Kimberly Queenan, Selectman's Rep.
Okay, good evening. Jeremy is not going to be here this evening. He sent me an email. He was not going to be able to make it tonight. We have with us this evening Jay Mankara, our circuit rider from NRPC. Welcome. Joan McKibben, our planning board administrator, and Mr. Luke Herron, the town's engineer. Did everybody have an opportunity to sign the public input sheet? I only have 3 names on here, so I don't know if there's anyone else want to sign. Charbonneau? Thanks.
It's pencil.
Which one are you doing first?
We're going to do the first one, which is the
Parking?
the parking, yeah. Medina and Bouchard.
Anybody else?
Thank you. Okay. All right, first off, public input on non-agenda items not on the agenda for this evening. Is there any public input on non-agenda items this evening? Anybody? Okay. Seeing nothing on public input on non-agenda items, I'll close that, and we will go to number 1, which is on the agenda for this evening, which is a site plan application for Rosé Medina and Rosina Bouchard-Hanen for parking at 442 and 446 Charles Bancroft Highway, tax map 20, lots 12 and 13. A variance for permitted use was granted for each applicant on 9/18/2023 with a stipulation for parking for 22 days of the Spooky World event. Is the applicant present this evening? Okay, why don't you folks come to the table and introduce yourselves to the board.
Rosé Medina,
Good evening. And your address?
442 Charles Bancroft Highway.
Thank you.
I'm Renessa Bouchard-Hannon, 446 Charles Bancroft Highway.
Okay, thank you. So it looks like we have here a, from what my understanding was, there was a cease and desist that was put into effect regarding this issue of parking. And my understanding is that you both went to the zoning board and got a use variance for parking. Is that my understanding? And they got granted?
Yes.
Okay. And I also see here a letter from Mr. Attorney Perlman dated November 1st, 2023, which I did receive. I think that is in everybody's file. You appealed this decision, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and that You filed that appeal with the zoning board?
That's correct.
Okay. Do you have a copy of your decision from the zoning board? I'm just curious.
No,
With you tonight? No,
we were
okay.
not given,
Do you have a copy of your appeal, Mr.
Yes.
Attorney Perlman?
We weren't given a copy of it.
we were not given a copy.
Even,
Okay. Was-
they're even waiting for a copy. Nobody has gotten a copy.
Did they say, did they make a decision?
Yes,
Okay, when was the decision made?
The same day.
that day,
Okay, when was that?
September 18th, I believe.
Yes.
Okay. And when did you file, Mr. Attorney Perlman? Sorry.
That's okay. Mr. Chairman, for the record, my name is Andy Perlman, attorney with Perlman and Perlman here on behalf of KBT Realty Trust in Mel's Family Park. I filed our appeal of the variances on October 13th.
Okay. All right. My understanding is that you did submit a plan, a site plan. And was that reviewed by someone here in town? Did
Yes.
Joan review it? or-
Yes, we sat down. with
Okay.
her.
And I believe, Jay, you had an opportunity to review it as
Yes.
well. Okay. I know you did have, Jay, I know you did have some concerns regarding the application.
Yes.
What my only concern is that I don't know how much we can accomplish if there is an appeal pending before the zoning board of adjustment. Normally, an appeal would stay any proceeding that would come before this board regarding the issue that's here tonight. My sense is that you are going to be going, when are you going before the zoning board?
It's currently scheduled for November 20th, provided there's a full board of 5 members.
Okay, all right. With that said, I'm not inclined to accept the application this evening, only because you have an appeal pending before the zoning board. What I can do, if it's up to the board, obviously, but what I'm saying, what we can do is, we can vote to continue the hearing until you get a decision from the zoning board, but that means you would have to come back to us at that point, because we don't know what's going to happen with that decision. My only concern to that is what would happen in the interim. Now, the board could uphold the cease and desist and just keep it the status quo and wait till the appeal is done, which I think is the better option, given that there is a legal matter there. But until we get more confirmation of what happens at the zoning board of adjustment, I'm not inclined to accept the application. Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So with that, I mean, the board can chime in, but that is my sense. I mean, I think if we have, there is an appeal pending, I think we need to wait and see what happens with that appeal. And then once they get a decision, and if something happens, they can come back, and obviously, we would have to make a determination at that point, what we can do. So at this time, I'm gonna ask the board to entertain a motion that we will continue this hearing till after November 20th. When's the next meeting date, Joan, in December?
21st and December 5th.
So probably December 5th at 7, because obviously your hearing is the 20th. And so we would want to make sure that you have the opportunity to get before the board, and then, I don't know, how long does the decisions from the zoning board, do you usually get them right away, or?
Yes, the board tends to make their decisions that night.
Okay,
Occasionally, they may want to continue it for more information.
okay,
My experience with the Litchfield zoning board is they often don't have a full board of 5, and that things get dragged out for some time. But hopefully, November 20th, we'll have a yay or nay.
okay, all right. So that is my recommendation to this board. So,
I'll make a motion to continue the meeting to December 5th.
all right, so we have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it for discussion.
Yeah.
If we're continuing the hearing, can we accept public input on it if we haven't accepted the application? If there are people here to speak on it?
I mean, if we don't accept it, then
Wait until it's accepted.
I think it might be more prudent to maybe wait until we at least get an acceptance, and then they can, have an opportunity, and then others would have an opportunity.
Okay.
So, okay. Anything else? Yeah,
Yes.
go ahead.
So what would happen in the interim between now and December, what, 5th? Was that the day? Is the cease and desist?
Well,
staying in?
maybe I
Is-
should ask that question. And maybe Attorney Perlman might have better answer because he's with Mel's. The Spooky World, is that all done now?
Yes.
Okay. Are you guys going to be doing anything for Christmas time or anything like that? I know you had brought.
Not this year.
Not this year.
The lights are on
Okay.
a ship somewhere in the Pacific.
Okay. So I guess the answer to that question is that you're not doing anything else for the season. Okay. So because it is sort of a seasonal thing, I don't think there would technically be any prejudice to the applicant. I think we could just keep it the status quo because there's not going to be any Spooky World until
Yeah, but I
next
don't,
year.
what's the status of the cease and desist? Is that gonna stay current?
That's going to stay current until we get something from the zoning board, a decision about the variance, and then we can address that when they come back. That would be the issue.
And you were only using that during Spooky World, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Can I just ask one, I know you're not open for public, but,
Sure.
okay. So I think for everybody's interest, including the planning board,
Mhm.
I think it would be very beneficial to the planning board to do a site walk of the Bouchard property before they come back to you, so that you can see how out of compliance they are with their site plan that they have in place at this time.
Okay.
Now, I want to say
The
something.
only,
I
the-
do
oh,
too.
wait, hold on. The only thing with that, because we haven't accepted it yet, I don't want to do a site walk until the plan has officially been accepted. I think because, number one, we want to make sure that we have everything that we need. And I think it's just better to be able to do that once the plan is accepted, if that's okay. But I understand what you're saying, but I think it might be more prudent to do that. That's my understanding.
May I say something?
Well, we do have well,
Well, you let him talk, so we want to be able to talk too.
I just
well,
wanted
okay,
to
all right.
say,
I'll let you speak and then,
it's just a quick, we are shut down now. All of our, everything has been taken down.
Right.
So doing a site plan review is really not going.
well, I mean, in terms of the,
And
as I
itself.
said, there's an appeal going on right now.
But
so
even the
I-
next time around, I mean, that's not gonna, typically, this is a seasonal, we are only running this for 22 days.
Understood.
We don't keep everything intact the entire year. So, and I understand if you'd like to do a walkthrough, that's fine, but unfortunately, that's gonna have to be before we park again, if we park again.
Well, I think what I was saying is, we wouldn't do a site walk until the plan was accepted,
Okay.
okay? So I think that's the better way to go, okay?
Sure.
So with that, we do have a motion on the table. I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on this motion? All right, all those in favor of the motion to continue this hearing to December 5th at 7 PM?
Consideration of the acceptance.
I'm sorry?
We didn't open the public hearing, so it's
Oh,
considered.
I'm sorry.
Continuing consideration of the acceptance.
Continuing consideration of the acceptance of the application. My apologies. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, abstained, motion passes 5-0-0. So we will see you after, obviously, in December.
Okay.
Okay? Thank you.
Thank
Mhm.
Thank you, folks. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving. Thank you.
All right, the next item on the agenda is an application for consolidation of 3 lots into 1 lot and subdivision of 1 lot into 28 single-family residential lots at tax map 18, lot 62, 64, and 4.8 acres of lot 68 adjacent to Pearson and Morrill Streets. This is a conservation open space development. The applicant is Signature Homes LLC. The landowners are John and Ty Nelson and Seth Miller. If the aforementioned applications are accepted, notice is hereby extended to application approval, consideration, and/or continuations to a date certain as required. Is the applicant here this evening? Okay. Would you come forward and introduce yourself to the board, please?
Good evening, Mr. Chair. My name is Doug McGuire. I'm with the Dubay Group, and I'm here representing the applicants on this project. As the board members may recall, we met last month on this and gave an initial presentation. The Planning Commission had made a determination that at the time we did not have a special exception filed for the potential wetland crossings. And so for that reason, it was determined that, the board determined that the application was not complete. We have since filed that application, and that has been, that is in place at this point. And so what we would like to try to do tonight is have the board act on our application and determine its completeness, accept jurisdiction, and
Well,
allow us.
hold on a second. Did you supply any new plans to anybody, to Jay, to Lou? Did you talk with anybody?
Nope.
Okay.
We have not yet, and reason being is because we had made some alterations to the plans. We plan on getting revised plans to the planning department, and specifically to Lou for his review. We recognize that you need that information. He needs time to review. He needs time to, see our updated plans. And so the reason we're here tonight is to ask for acceptance, mainly for the reason of being able to schedule the site walk that you had requested previously, and you had determined that you did not want to establish a site walk until the application was complete. So, I don't want to waste any of the board's time or any member of the public's time. So really, all I was looking for tonight was to obtain an acceptance, schedule a site walk, because obviously we're getting into potentially bad weather coming up, so I wanted to get that in the books. And then I was going to request for a continuance to allow for engineering to review our revised plan set and be able to, give a conclusion as to the status of where those stand.
Well, I will tell you from a personal standpoint, and this is not the board, but this is my own opinion, I'm not inclined to do an acceptance this evening. We need a plan to come to Jay to review. We need something on that plan that's going to specifically identify what it is that you're looking to do. And quite frankly, I'm kind of surprised. I mean, these people are here this evening. They came here, the abutters are here because they wanted to, discuss what was going to happen, and we don't have a plan.
Well, Mr. Chair, I guess I'm confused because you do have a plan. You had a plan that was submitted, a plan that has been reviewed by Lou. He had some comments, some engineering comments that needed to be adjusted. The plans have been adjusted.
Have you provided to Jay?
Who's Jay?
Jay is the NRC rep. He's the guy that reviews our plans. He reviews.
Yes,
our
Jay has
NRPC.
received the plans. Yes, this was a full application of which he did a review and determined it was complete, barring the special exception. So there is a full application before this board. It's been before the board.
I'm a little. I'm a little baffled because Jay, I don't know. Maybe you can clarify. I mean, did you get anything?
I did review the plans, but the special exception was one issue, but there were a number of, items that were also identified as submission requirements that had not been submitted, so.
No, we provided revised plans of that, and all of that was submitted to you, and that was discussed at the last meeting as all being in place and reviewed. There was a woman here, I don't remember her name, but she was here representing the Planning Commission, stated on record that everything had been completed. So maybe Jay doesn't have the latest plan or isn't aware of that other member of his staff that reviewed the plan. But everything was reviewed, everything was determined to be in place, and the only outstanding item was the special exception.
My understanding from the planning department, but I'll ask for clarification from Joan, is that the town has only received
One
the
set.
initial set of plans.
Was Cassie here?
We had submitted electronic plans to the planning commission, to your attention, and those plans were reviewed and confirmed as complete. All those items were addressed at the last meeting. I mean, we went through, she had the list in front of her. She said, yep, all of my items have been accepted except for, that's why I was pushing for an acceptance last meeting, but because we had everything in place. And everything in place except for the submission of the special exception.
Well, you didn't have everything in place. That's, specific to be, if you're gonna do semantics, you didn't. But I think Jay needs to be able to review those plans. And you have not had an opportunity to do that, correct, Jay?
No, and again, we checked with the town hasn't received.
And the town has not received
How many
anything?
hard copy sets of plans have you submitted? I only have one set of plans,
Well,
the initial,
I mean, I just don't want to go backwards here. With all due respect, your office, I don't know who was the woman that was here?
Cassie.
So Cassie was here, and on record, I think there's some other members that recall this, stated that all the items that you had for completeness-related items were addressed except for the special exception. It was her recommendation to the board that because the special exception had not been in place, that it not be deemed complete for that reason.
I understand
Now,
that.
it would be very detrimental to the applicant to not accept the plan when it was already determined that the only item for acceptance necessary was the special exception. We've submitted the special exception, so we have a complete application. And it's not the applicant's fault that Jay is not aware of those items. It was already reviewed. We have already submitted those. Someone has reviewed them, maybe not Jay, but someone from his staff has reviewed those completeness items. And the plan that you had before you, the plan that was submitted, had those updated items. So now what has not been updated,
Okay, hold on a second. So there were updated items. Joan, so we didn't receive anything? The town didn't receive any
I
plans?
have one set of hard copy plans.
Okay. But when were those
I
submitted?
did get a PDF that I could put onto the portal.
And that's what's on the portal now.
And that's what's on the portal now.
and those reflected the completeness items minus the special exception.
Lou, did you have an opportunity to review that plan?
Yes, I received set of plans on September 19th.
You got them?
Reviewed them to a point. A lot of things I needed to see differently, and had a letter that you should have a copy of. Joan has it right there.
Okay.
And we are in receipt of that. We have adjusted all of our plans. The plans I have with me tonight are reflective of some of the adjustments that Lou requested. However, I wasn't going to try to put Lou on the spot and say, are you all set with this? He hasn't had a chance to review it. There hasn't been enough time. So therefore, we were going to ask to be continued to have Lou complete that. However, we wanted to be able to establish the site walk unless the board is okay going if there's snow on the ground. I was just trying to get ahead of the weather.
Well, here's the thing, okay? Apparently, I mean, we need Jay to review the plan, okay? I know Lou may have reviewed what was submitted, but I think under the circumstances, I guess there's a confusion of whether there was a plan submitted or not submitted. But we don't have updated plans, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Well, wait a minute. We submitted an updated plan to the planning commission and it was reviewed. I think Jay was on vacation. Someone else reviewed it. So it's been reviewed. The completeness items were addressed.
I understand what you're saying, but
I will certainly check if that's true, but were updated plans submitted to the town of Litchfield?
Electronically, yes, not by hard copy.
Electronic.
So did you receive
Did you receive
updated
that?
electronic plans?
Those are the ones on the portal, right?
Those are the first ones on the portal, same as the hard copy.
When we received the letter from the planning commission, and I apologize if this was not your typical process, but we received a letter, there were comments, so we knew we wanted to have an opportunity for that to be reviewed ahead of our first meeting. So we submitted an electronic set directly to the planning commission. I believe the town was copied on that. I don't know for sure, but I know it was sent to the planning commission, and the woman that came, representing the commission that night, had reviewed those plans and had gone through all those outstanding items and determined that all the checklist items for completeness were complete except for the submission of the special exception.
Did you have, one thing was impact fee calculations, are those on the plans now, impact fee calculations?
The impact fee calculations,
That's a note that should be added to the plan set, so.
I believe so, yes. I believe that everything that was a completeness checklist item was addressed, and I believe that was confirmed by the commission at the last meeting.
Well, I only have one review from the commission dated, October 3rd was the meeting you were here, and this was the review that goes with that October 3rd meeting.
Well, right, and we had
After
submitted,
that meeting, did you do electronic submission?
no,
after
it was,
that meeting?
it was prior to the meeting.
Right,
So
right,
they had an opportunity to review.
Right.
I mean, the whole goal was that we didn't want to waste the board's time at the first meeting by not having a complete plan. So we updated our plan, submitted it to the commission, and it was reviewed, maybe not by Jay, but by someone at the commission, and determined that it was complete. I mean, we can go back in the minutes, that happened. So, the plan was deemed complete. I mean, and let's remind everybody, we're not looking, by any means, looking for an approval or anything tonight. We're just looking for the plan to be accepted so that we can start jurisdiction and commence a date for the site walk. That's all we're looking for. So we're not looking for, if there's further comments by Jay, if he does a review, there's no harm in us getting those done. All we're trying to do is, we feel the plan is complete. It was determined complete except for the special exception. The special exception has been since submitted, so therefore, the plan is now complete. The board can accept it as complete, don't have to act on it or anything, but just allow us to schedule a site walk. And more importantly, we would then request to be continued so that Lou can receive the updated plans, of which we will drop hard copies off to the town. Lou will get his hard copy, Joan will have hers. I can get however many you guys want for that review. But all we're looking to do is just be able to progress the application and allow for a site walk to be scheduled.
Well, Jay, I don't know what your thoughts are on that. The only thing is, I mean,
May I ask a question? Have you gone before the Conservation Commission yet?
We have, yes.
Just conceptual.
Just conceptually, yes.
We don't have any idea how much impact you have.
okay.
I mean, certainly, it's up to the discretion of the board. One thought might be, though, that to the point that weather may be against us, there might be a value in scheduling a site walk for that reason.
Okay, but in terms of acceptance, I guess is my question. Because I'm not inclined to do a site walk unless we accept the plan.
I mean, if Jay wanted, and I don't want to belabor the board, but I have an updated plan here. If he wants, I don't have his comments with me because I thought we were past that step, but if he wants to ask any completeness items that I can visually show on the plan set, there was a handful of comments. Obviously checklist items are minor items. Is there a letter from this person? Is this thing on there? Should you have this note? They need to be there, but they're not massive design change items or anything like that. So, the plan is complete. It was close to complete on its original submission. So I think, I don't see any harm in accepting it as complete based on the feedback that you received at the last meeting from the planning commission. I mean, do we want to go back in the minutes and look at that?
Well, that's what I'm looking for.
So I'm going back in my correspondence. I went back through my emails. I do have an email from Cassie to me saying that she reviewed everything today and agreed that it looks like they adequately addressed most of your concerns, meaning the concerns that I outlined in the letter. And she just goes on to say, she does feel it'd be premature to accept the application without first receiving a special exception, or at least having an application before the ZBA. And she does have some questions about, whether or not there are private septic systems for each well. She asked whether they're doing test pits, so there was some information that wasn't there, but she did feel that they adequately addressed most of the issues that I raised in my memo. So that is correct.
Okay, all right, thank you. Would you, well, Jay, I should ask, would you need an opportunity to review the plans yourself, in terms of making sure that everything is there?
Well, certainly I would. I would like to see the revised plans. I think it's important for those plans to be submitted to Lou, and I think it's important that the town receive plan sets as well. I will say that, I certainly trust that, in Cassie's review. So it does appear that Cassie did review the plans alongside the comments in my letter, and did concur that most of those issues were addressed.
Okay.
And also, just for clarification, we fully intend that Jay would have a follow-up review of our revised plans. There's items that have changed based on Lou's comments. We've updated parts of the set, cross sections, more engineering related items, but Jay certainly would have an opportunity to review those. Joan, all of them will have that opportunity, of which we were intending to be happening between this meeting and the next meeting, and have, a conclusion from that, but allow us to have the site walk in the interim, so that when we come back next month, we would have the results of a site walk, of which, the public has participated in, that board. Lou having a opportunity to review our revised plans, which I think he's gonna be pleased with, based on the adjustments that we made to some of the items that him and I talked about, and that was in his review letter. And obviously, if there's any further items that Jay needs clarification on or updates, we're happy to adjust those as well.
Okay. What was I gonna say? Certainly, I don't know if, well, it sounds like, so if Cassie says that they are complete, then I guess you have the application for the special exception that was filed?
It has been, yep,
When was that filed?
on October 17th.
Okay, do you have a copy of it with you? or-
I did bring one, yes.
Okay, can you give it to the board tonight?
Of course.
Give it to Joan or to you?
You can give it to Jim. Okay. So with that said, Lou, did you, what were your comments? I'm just curious, in terms of what you reviewed.
I had quite a few.
You want the letter?
Yeah, I do have the letter,
Oh, you
but I
have
just
one?
wanted, if he wanted to comment on that. Thank you.
Well, some of the grading appeared to be creating issues around some of the units. The cross-sections were not correct. It didn't, the road cross-section, or typical section, didn't match the town's typical. And again, I keep finding small items here and there that just need to complete the plans and to be able to construct it in the field.
Okay. All right.
And, and those items that Lou brought forward, there were good comments, and there were adjustments that we performed, but that was, that's what we've been working on, between now and then. So,
All right.
in fact, we could have probably submitted plans at the end of last week, but I thought that was just there's no need to rush the plans in. I wanted to get a full plan set package, print everything up, and get them to Lou so he can have an opportunity, take a week or two or whatever he needs to review those plans. And I believe he has everything he'll need in this next submission to address those comments. He may have additional comments, but, we'll work on those as we receive.
And all fees have been paid, Joan,
Yes.
all others have been notified, correct? So, I mean, my inclination was not to accept, only because I didn't think that there was a plan. But apparently there was confusion. I guess Jay thought that there wasn't one submitted, but apparently someone from his office has reviewed it. He seems pretty confident that that person made, that basically, though most of the issues were addressed in that submission. Given those circumstances, and this is a paper exercise, it's an application for completeness, it's not an approval. I think at this time, I would be inclined to accept the application as submitted by the applicant. Does someone want to make a motion or have any issues, questions, or concerns?
I have a concern.
Okay.
I would like a full set of plans that I can review as well, that's up to date.
I have a full set of plans in the office.
I know, but I need time to review them, right? So,
Well, the full set's on the portal.
okay, so conservation too needs to weigh in, right? That's what I'm
Yeah,
hearing.
he'll-
Well, but
Yeah,
not for
okay.
just acceptance,
Not for acceptance.
I do not feel comfortable with it. I want
Okay.
Jay, our circuit rider, to review it as well.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
Yep, and you're entitled to your opinion.
Exactly, so I think for conservation, Jay,
Well, can I just ask, I think as a point of order, we need to understand what acceptance is. And I don't know if this board member is misunderstanding what that is. Because we're not looking for any type of an approval. We are just simply stating that we provided a full set of plans originally.
I
We
know, I
provided a
understand.
full set.
But I don't like the comment of, it's just checklists and check boxes. Those are very important checklists and boxes. I want to make sure that we have everything.
But those were on there, and those have been, as Jay just stated, reviewed by the planning commission.
But I want a final review, myself personally, of that. So I'm okay with a site walk, but I'm not okay with acceptance, meaning and my understanding of acceptance is everything's been provided.
Right. Okay, so, I mean, what do you think, Sam?
So I'm inclined to accept the plan. I heard, Jay's staff has reviewed it. Joan has told us that everything's been provided. So that's my opinion.
Jared?
Yeah, if everything has been validated by someone that we work with, then I think we can accept the plan, and then we'll later discuss the other items that are required for approval.
Okay. I'm not sure where Kate went. Must have stepped out. Okay. Does anyone want to make a motion?
Should we wait for Kate?
Yeah, do we know where Kate went?
No.
I don't know if she went to get the plans.
Oh.
Yeah, just
Oh, I don't
let
know
her
if
know that I'm sorry, Kate. I didn't realize that you had
Oh, that's right.
disappeared.
You
I
didn't
don't know if
wanna-
you've been listening to what,
I've been trying to. I think I will abstain from any motion, just
Okay.
because I didn't get the full discussion. But you all didn't want to hear my coughing fit, so.
oh, I'm sorry. Okay. So really, the issue is acceptance of the plan. That's what's before the board right now. There was, I guess, a lot of information that some plans were submitted, and Jay didn't have an opportunity to look at them, but someone from his office had an opportunity to review them and said that most of the issues were addressed by the applicant. Lou had an opportunity to make comments. Fees have been paid, abutters have been notified. I know there's been concern that there's some people here that feel that Jay should have the opportunity to review them. So what we're at the point now is, do we want to accept it, or do we want to not accept it?
And Jay also made a point that there may be some value to accepting it now because of weather, making it harder to do the site plan or sidewalk in the
sidewalk.
future.
I would personally rather have an acceptance to do the site walk, because I think that's what we should do, not the other way around. So
Okay.
that's what the, and I was asking the board, what do they want to do? What your thoughts are on that. If you still want to abstain, you can abstain. I'm not, just letting you know that's what the discussion is.
I think I should abstain. I also was not I had watched the last planning board meeting, but I also I didn't attend that last meeting either, so I think those kind of two issues combined, I feel more comfortable abstaining from the vote. I think
Okay,
either
so-
way, we would need 3 to accept.
I'll make a motion to accept the plans.
I'll second that.
All right, I have a motion by Sam. I have a second by Jared. Is there any further discussion? All right, I'm going to call it to a vote. Oh, you have a
I
discussion?
don't know, is that a,
Well, hold on. We're accepting the plan. We'll get to public comment.
This is an approval of the plan.
This isn't an approval.
Completely understand.
It's not an approval.
sorry,
This is a paper
I get it,
exercise.
but the new plans have
Walking
not been
back
submitted.
everything you guys said at the
Yes.
last meeting.
We left here last time, and the sections were supposed to be addressed and put on the plans. You can go back and look at the minutes or watch the video. Those have not been submitted back to the town.
Okay.
You have the original set of plans, you do not have the revised set of plans, the complete set of plans.
All
It's
right.
my understanding we did get the complete set of plans.
Not the revised
I
one.
mean, that's a work in progress. The plans are a work in progress. You can still accept, that's
Right,
my
right.
opinion.
Okay. All right. I have a motion on the floor. I had a second. Any further discussion from the board? I'm going to take a vote. All those in favor of accepting the application for completeness, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Abstained?
Abstain.
Okay, motion passes 3-1-1. All right, we have accepted the application for completeness. Okay. All right, so the plan is accepted for completeness. Does the applicant have anything that they wish to add this evening in terms of your updates, anything that you've done in the interim? This is your opportunity.
Thank you. So I don't think it would be appropriate to discuss any of the technical items that were adjusted on the plans at this stage without the peer review engineer's review of that. In fact, I think it would be detrimental to the process, just because obviously abutters have concerns. They're gonna hear my response to that, but they would really probably like to have a validated opinion of that. And so that was why I was going to not get into the details of those, because Mr. Karen has not had the opportunity to review the plans. He will have that opportunity we're dropping off plans this week, full sets. So my request would be that with the plan completed, that the board set a site walk, because I know that was important. It's important, I'm sure, to the abutters as well. We'd like to get that established sooner than later. And unless there were specific questions from the board, I would then request to be continued to the next hearing, hoping that the site walk would happen in between this meeting and the next, and that the review of both Jay and Lou would be able to happen in that time as well. And I think, everyone would feel that the plan was very much on track. I apologize for the, confusion of tonight, but my intentions were still, I hope, in the right direction. I was trying to just get that site walk in place. If we had already had the site walk, I would have just requested a continuance of this meeting in general, and not even opened the public hearing, because I know that Lou hasn't had a chance to review the plan. So I was only coming tonight to establish the site walk date and then look to have engineering review the plan. And then that way, if there's concerns raised by abutters on the drainage or items, Lou can respond to those and say that he has had an opportunity to look at that, or he can raise additional concerns that may require changes to the plan.
Okay. Is the board interested in doing a site walk?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess the question is, when is the applicant available to do that? I mean, when do you want to do that?
Well,
You're-
obviously we're losing daylight earlier these days, but could do something late afternoon on a day, or whatever the pleasure of the board is. I know we're getting into the holiday seasons as we're coming in here, and things get busy, but I don't know if like a 4 o'clock site walk or even, I mean.
During the week or
If,
the weekend?
yeah, I mean, whatever, I mean, I know that a lot of the abutters are right there, so if they have the ability to join us, I mean, I'm happy to do something anytime during the week, anytime during the day. I know it would probably be best to be towards the end of the day or beginning of the morning or something. If you wanted to do a weekend, I'm sure we could come up with one that would work for everybody. I just, I do have a couple things on some of the weekends coming up just because of the holiday stuff, but.
Jay, when are you available?
Could we do Saturday the 18th? Would that work?
Does that work for everybody, the 18th of November?
Earlier the better, because I have a commitment.
Okay. What time? 10?
Morning. 10? Does
10 o'clock work for everybody?
Could we do
I could do
earlier?
9, or I
Could we
could
do
do.
Can we do earlier?
Sure.
I have no preference, so. So 9
Can
o'clock?
you do 9?
Earlier the better.
Yeah,
8 o'clock?
Yeah, I could do 8, that's fine too.
Works for me, Adam.
I mean, I have some commitments on that Saturday,
So do you want 8 o'clock then? Is that
if that's possible, yeah.
8 a.m.
8 a.m.? On the 18th of November?
Shock.
Yeah, I can tell.
On Saturday, the
Wear your
18th?
long underwear.
Is there a different day that works better for you?
Or is there another day that,
I mean, the 19th, the Sunday, that following day?
I need earlier on that day. But you don't have to schedule it around me though.
what about Sunday? Does everyone have a problem with that, or is that?
Which Sunday?
The
19th.
19th?
Today's the 7th. What time?
And I could do any time on that day.
Any time on
Yeah.
that day?
Yeah.
You want to do 11 o'clock? How's that? Does that work? Works for Jay, works for you,
So
works
it's
for you?
Sunday now?
Sunday, the
11?
19th at 11.
Sunday at 11 o'clock?
I might be late. I might be a little late, but I can catch it. I can
Okay.
catch up.
And that's the
All right,
19th?
so
All right.
That works.
we will schedule that for the 19th Sunday at 11 o'clock. And I'm going to assume that the butters will be notified of that. Will they be notified of that sidewalk? Okay,
No,
so
but
I guess
It
we
is
don't
public and
notify
butters are welcome.
you for the sidewalk, so
Yes,
tonight is
butters
the
are
night that, just to let you guys know, that's when it's going to be.
Where are we actually meeting?
Yeah, where are we gonna
Where's
meet?
the
And where,
meeting
yeah,
point?
I guess
I would
that's
think, I would think it would probably be best, and I will share this with Joan to be able to get to all the members of the board, but in anticipation of having a site walk with the Conservation Commission previously, we have staked out the center line of the road. So, we'll know where we are out there, and I can walk the board through. I can bring you to the exact locations of the wetland crossings. So we have all that laid out, but I would guess that the easiest way in would be to come in right from across from Morrill Street. So if we could just, maybe meet on Morrill Street at the entrance there.
You have either the applicant or another person from your office, because I think there'll be quite a crowd, so, because it usually they get strung out in the field. So could you have a couple people on your side?
You mean just to participate in the?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can do that.
Thanks.
Okay.
The other thing, I think it would be a little bit better if they had the center line marked out a little better,
A little better.
A little better?
that you can walk it easy. know,
Okay.
way back at the beginning, you guys asked for or the Conservation Commission asked for like a path through there, and I think that's what they should have, so you can actually see it. Because it's pretty difficult to follow.
Okay.
Can you at least go from stake to stake, eyeball?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the intent is that I should be able to walk you guys through. I mean, we're not gonna blaze like a road through there, but, you know, we have the center line staked out. If there's certain areas that, you know, you guys wanna see or whatever, I should be able to navigate you through. And also, I have as I said, I kinda have like an aerial plan that I prepared that has the center line stationing, so we can kind of say, hey, where are we at? Okay, we're at station 800, this is where it's at. And, you know, and I'll bring multiple copies of that plan, just a one-sheeter, you know, so that everybody can kind of have one in their hand and, you know where they are, you know, and we'll walk to the critical points or whatever areas the members want to see or people of the public want to see.
It would be way better if there was a path that you could follow.
Okay.
Because it's gonna be a big group of people and keeping everybody together. There really should be a path. Doesn't have to be wide, but should be an area, let them blaze a little path through there.
I mean, I'm the developer, Nick Morrow. We're not gonna have a piece of equipment go in there and do, you know, you've walked the site and it's very walkable. So I don't see a reason as to try to create a path for someone and disturb the area before we even get any approvals or anything like that. We're not trying to disturb anything that, you know, until we actually have a reason to.
What about cones? Can you put orange cones up,
To market.
something?
Well, I mean, the center line is staked, like with stakes, you know, that have ribbons on them and they have the station numbers. I think there may be certain areas that it's like, okay, well, to go from 8 to 900, we may walk a path to get to 900 separately than going straight up the road. But I think, you know, when you're in the middle of the woods, the real focus is gonna be, you know, where are we proximity to abutters? Where are we at the wetland crossings? Where are we putting ponds? Those type of things. So I think the intent will be met with what we have out there. And I'll make sure that the stakes are, I mean, we had set those a month or two ago, or actually probably more at this point. So I'll make sure that those are still in good working order before we get out there.
Okay.
And I did personally all the test pits out there, so I'm, you know, familiar with walking the site.
Okay. Yeah, Lou.
Question on, the wetlands map, the flags out there for the wetlands?
Yeah, they should be, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, they weren't done too long ago, so you should still be able to see those flags, and our flag numbers are listed on the plans. So we should be able to kind of reference where we are. I think the board will be pleased with, you know, where the crossing locations are. There was like, one of the crossings that is actually impacted already from some like trails, work. So we just coincidentally are using that same area, so it's kind of a good point to cross. But we'll be able to walk you to those spots.
Okay.
Are there any areas that will be relatively deep with water that we need good boots for?
Both crossing locations, we could step right over, with no issue, when I was out there, so, I mean, I'd recommend having boots just in case things are a little muddy or anything, but you're not gonna be needing your waders or anything like that to get through.
All right. Well, that, we will do that on the 19th of November then. At this time, I am gonna open it up to because we did accept, I'm gonna open it up to public comment. Public comment is remained open, since the last meeting. I do have quite a few, if I can find this stuff. Let's lose. Oh, I'm sorry. I have a number of, emails that were sent from abutters, and I do have a couple people who wish to speak this evening. So what I'll do is, I'll do like last time. What we did was, we stated the name, we had the person come up. You guys have, 3 minutes to make comments. it's not gonna be an opportunity to ask questions or anything like that, it's just comments. If you have comments on the project, this is your opportunity to comment. So I'll start with the first person, George Lavish from the Conservation Commission, 13 Pearson Street. Good evening.
Good evening. So I made my comments last meeting, and I also reiterated those comments via an email. So my main issue is, I have no issue with somebody building houses on lots where they can, you know, but I am a little concerned with the yield plan. So Lou has, I guess, taken a lot of time looking at the actual plans for a building. So I don't know if the same scrutiny goes into the yield plan, and I think that level of scrutiny should go into the yield plan. So I identified, at least there are 3 lots that require wetlands abatements in order to be part of the yield plan, and those should be immediately stricken because the wording says there will be no, you know, there cannot be any waivers, wetlands waivers for lots in the yield plan. And then I've spelled this out in my email, so I don't need to reiterate it, but there are at least 6, there may be up to 6 more lots besides those 3 that come into question. So this could go from, you know, 28 down to, you know, 19. So I think, you know, we really need to take a look at the yield plan. And those, you know, those are my main concerns. They're all spelt out in the email, so I don't need to
We did receive that.
go into more detail,
Okay.
okay? But I really hope you guys take a look at that. And during the site walk, you can see where that cul-de-sac is. And that cul-de-sac is on the side of like a 30-foot cliff. And I'm not making that up. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. The next person is, I hope I'm spelling this right, Chris Watsius of 19 Pearson Street?
Chris Natsius.
Natsius, I'm sorry. Oh, it's an N. My apologies. You can come forward.
Hi, I'm Chris Natsius. I lived at 19 Pearson Street for 36 and a half years. I've walked back there. It's a wet area. Litchfield, most of the houses or all the houses are on 1 acre lots. This project here, they want to bring it in half-acre lots. I don't understand why the project is even being considered since they're building it on wetlands and they don't have the acreage. So why is it even being considered? And one more thing. Rick Eaton for Hispania, he did a hell of a job when he was building my development, which is all 1 acres. I live on the corner of Pearson and Morrill. When it rains heavily, the swales, he did a real good job. The water comes right down Morrill, right across my front yard, goes underneath the road and straight down the back. Sometimes when it's raining very hard, it looks like the Merrimack River. And that's right, exactly where that water's going, right towards the back of that. So I'd ask you to not consider this project at all because it doesn't fit the rest of the town. Thank you.
So I am gonna ask the public not to clap. I mean, this isn't a community theater. We're not doing a performance here, okay, folks? This is a public meeting. We're gonna be respectful of everybody's opinion. So I would just ask you to refrain from doing that. Thank you. All right. Oh, okay. Rick Charbonneau, I think he commented on he wanted to comment on the other thing. He's not here, is he? No, he left, okay. I'm trying to see who this is. Oh, okay, so these are the folks from the other case, I'm sorry. All right, just make sure that I, get the other people here who sent in their things. I do have a couple of things I'm gonna read into the record, this evening regarding this project.
I have my name on the list.
You did? What was your name, sir? Oh, I'm so sorry. Yes, come forward. I don't know why I missed you. 16 Pearson Street, thank you.
All good. Kevin Durham, 16 Pearson Street. I have to echo everything George said. I'm very familiar with the work he's done on that. The other piece that I have to mention that hasn't been mentioned a lot is the speed and the traffic on Pearson. Speed on Pearson is already excessive. There's a lot of people that speed up and down that road. And adding 250 trips per day to Pearson is just too much vehicles up for that road. And it's very concerning for my children, my pets, and other people on Pearson, not just the abutters. And then this acceptance of the plan, when it's not complete compared to what you had requested in the last meeting, I really have to take exception to this. And I don't know how we can do that when things are not met. The drawings are not complete. I'm a builder. My stuff got turned down many times. That's about all I gotta say.
Okay, thank you.
Michael, there was another letter that came in today that I emailed.
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay.
I think I printed it out, actually, right, a couple of them. Let's see. And you did submit written comments as well. I did see that. Okay, thank you. All right. Steve, I'll get to that in a minute. Tom Lesniak, is that person here? Okay. To whom it may concern, this is from Mr. Lesniak. This is dated October 4th, 2023. I want to express my thoughts or reservations on the proposed Morrill Street expansion plan. I believe the current proposal is for 28 homes to be built. The only issue that I have with the proposal is that the lots are less than 1 acre in size. Unless I'm mistaken, we have a town ordinance that states lots must be 1 acre in size. I understand that they are doing some open area on the plan to work around this 1 acre lot size, but I do not think that should be allowed. Lots smaller than 1 acre means that homes are closer together and there is less buffer space between the homes. Based on this issue alone, I am against this project. Tom Lesniak, 29 Century Lane, Litchfield. This one is for Pearson Street Development. Patty Junkins, is there Patty Junkins here? Did you want to speak or on your letter or your email? Or do you want me to read it into the record? You're up to you. Okay. It says, this is dated October 4, 2023. Dear Planning Board, our residence is on Pearson Street, and we are against this new development for the following reasons. Preserving the wetlands is the most important. There is only one way in and out, and that is through Pearson Street, which will cause a great deal of traffic since they would like to add 28 new homes, never mind the construction going on. We hope our names with this letter can be added to the disapproval of this development since we could not attend the meeting on October 3rd. Sincerely, Patricia and Kenneth Junkins. Okay. That one, I think there's one online here. Hold on. This one came in, looks like this came in this evening. Let's see, this was on November 7th at 6:54 p.m. Dear Planning Board, I hope this letter finds you well. Over 2 decades ago, my wife and I made the decision to call 14 Pearson Street our home. We have built our family here and have enjoyed this wonderful neighborhood. I am writing to express my concerns regarding the proposed residential development for the Morrill Street extension. The proposal has raised questions about its potential impact on our neighborhood, the fragile ecosystem it encompasses, and the promises made by prior owners concerning its preservation. Shortly after we moved into our house, we were notified that the owners of the southern portion of the property, which is now part of the Morrill Street extension proposal, intended to subdivide the property. They expressed to us that they wanted to sell the western part bordering Charles Bancroft Highway while leaving the eastern part adjacent to our land undeveloped. Although I don't recall the details, this earlier attempt was denied due to a lack of contiguous dry land on the property. This would have been back in the 2002 or 2003 timeframe. Surprisingly, this same parcel of land has now resurfaced within the current Morrill Street extension proposal, seemingly combined with other parcels. I am unclear as to how it now qualifies for residential development. Based on the maps I've reviewed, it appears that the wetlands in this area have expanded rather than diminished over that time. My fellow neighbors and I share concern about the full site plan. It appears to include several lots that may require variances or could potentially be in violation of regulations, based on my limited understanding of the rules. Furthermore, we've noticed that there are a few lots on the full site plan that aren't even present on the secondary plan. Additionally, we have reservations regarding the accessibility and usability of the proposed open spaces for the public. The entirety of this land is a habitat to a diverse range of wildlife, all of which face potential disruption and displacement due to the impending construction. Our property has been frequented by the presence of deer and turkeys, which regularly roam the back of our land. In addition, we've had the privilege of witnessing owls and hawks flying and hunting small prey in this area. Over the years, we've also encountered numerous other animals, such as foxes, fisher cats, rabbits, and bats. To ensure the well-being of these animals and preserve our local ecosystem, we request that a thorough wildlife impact assessment, including the assessment of wetland impacts, be conducted as part of the development proposal. We kindly request that you carefully consider the points we have raised, as they are of great significance to our community. Your thoughtful evaluation of these concerns will play a vital role in shaping the future of our neighborhood and its natural surroundings. Thank you for your time and attention to this matter, Tom and Stephen Sisson. Are you folks here this evening? I'm sorry, I should. Oh, okay, hi. Did you want to actually comment any further on this, or did you want to come over to the table, or are you good?
I'm all set. I made an attempt last time and
Okay.
passed out. So
Oh, okay, well, we don't want you to pass out, so we're not going to have that, so, okay, thank you. All right.
We are at 14 Pearson Street.
Force and Pierce, thank you. All right. Let's see if there's another one here. I know there was something. I don't see anything else. Was that the person that emailed Joan that you were talking
No,
about?
that, did that come in tonight?
That came in tonight, right
I
before
hadn't
the
seen it.
meeting.
I hadn't
There was
seen it.
another one.
There's
wasn't
another
there?
one that came in at 3:00.
It's on my phone if you want it.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Jay. I guess it's better than scrolling. Okay. This is dated November 7th, 2023 at 3:19 PM, Morrill Street Development. To members of the Planning Board. My name is Lindsay Smart. I am a resident. Is Lindsay here this evening? No, okay. I'm a resident in Litchfield at 15 Pearson Street. I'm not sure I'll be able to attend the planning board meeting in person tonight, but wanted to share my concerns regarding the proposed Morrill Street development. My husband and I moved here in 2015 because we saw that it would be a great place to raise children. It was important to us. It was important to us to live on a quiet and safe road, one where kids could walk and ride bikes. Along with many residents of the town, I have a number of concerns about the way this development will change this well-established neighborhood of over 30 years, including traffic and noise. A new development with access only via Pearson and Morrill will greatly increase the number of cars on our road, which are already in need of repair, not to mention the impact that the construction vehicles will add. Additionally, the developer has projected at least 2 years of building and construction. As someone who appreciates this quiet neighborhood while I work from home, it would be huge disturbance to be listening to construction vehicles and trees being cut each day. Wetland and wildlife impact. I am grateful to have access to the woods and wetlands in the area in question to take walks with my family and my dog on a daily basis. I have encountered every animal from fox to deer, porcupines, owls, and much, much more. The town conservation guidelines mention that it's ideal to have contiguous open areas for wildlife, which I feel this land serves, allowing animals to travel from the river through to the state forest. If this land was devastated by a development, many animals would be displaced. Water concerns. It has already been mentioned a number of times that water is a major concern for this land, which is not surprising given that much of it is actual wetlands. I don't think I have to reiterate what our town engineer has said about the increase in superstorms and that the proposal by the developer is potentially not being robust enough to account for where all this water will go. As you know, we had an extremely wet summer. I am attaching a video I took in July where water was literally streaming everywhere. I can't even imagine this disaster that could I can't even imagine the disaster this could cause to residents who purchase homes in the development or those with homes on Pearson, like the Sissons, who already have had issues with water. Of additional concern overall to development being built in Litchfield is the impact of our schools. I understand you are not the school board, but with no solid plan for a new school, it should at least be consideration when proving new family homes that our town is already over capacity. Thank you for your consideration of my concerns. I truly hope this development will not be approved for these reasons and many more that I've listed here. Litchfield is a wonderful community, and I hope that it continues to put its current residents and their concerns first over outside interests. Sincerely, Lindsay Smart. Thank you, Jay. Okay, I think that was everybody, right? I think I didn't see anybody else. Did anybody else submit something that I didn't read or did not find in my email? I think I got everybody. Okay.
Could you just explain conservation open space design and why the lots are smaller?
So I think, conservation open space, my initial understanding of conservation open space is that this is a way that the development is to preserve for conservation, agriculture. There's usually an easement that's placed on it, but I guess it depends on who's going to control the easement, if it's a conservation easement and what that's going to look like. Maybe the developer has any ideas of what he's thinking. Maybe he can provide.
All of what you just said, Mr. Chair, is correct, but I think it's important for the public to understand this piece because, it seems to be an echoed comment and I can understand it, but any parcel of this size, the town's regulations require an open space development. And so the intent of that is that you look at what you would do with the development if it were to be developed entirely, every inch being utilized or whatever for lot development. And there's some very strict provisions to prove out those specific lots. And once you get that total amount of lots, you then utilize that in this conservation open space development. But, I just want it to be clear, this is something that the town is pushing, I guess, for lack of a better term, meaning that, and I think it has the intentions to solve some of the concerns that were raised, protection of wildlife, minimizing impacts from drainage. And so essentially, while protecting the rights of a landowner who has X amount of land that could build X amount of lots, they are able to do a development that has less road length, smaller lots, but not more lots than you would have in a conventional development. And the trade-off of that is that because you have smaller lots and less road, you have less drainage, and you have areas of open space that are permanently preserved and protected. And so, I think communities look at these developments differently, but that's the draw, is that you can have a conventional development where you have 1 acre lots and you're utilizing all the area, or you could have a development that has areas that are preserved permanently with the trade-off of having smaller, more, more dense development, but ultimately the same ratio overall on the parcel. So, I think it's important that the public understands that this is something that the town has voted on and wanted to have in town, and how they want larger parcels of land to be used to have that half-acre zoning with the open space. So we're really just kind of following the blueprint, so to speak, of the regulations and how a piece of land like this gets developed.
So is it my understanding that you haven't, do you have a plan in terms of what you're looking to do in terms of the open space?
So yes, we do. We're preserving a large amount of the, obviously, a large amount of the wetland areas that are of concern or of the ecological value are going to be part of the open space, including the area that comes down through and under Pearson and comes along through. That's a chunk of land that is being preserved in the open space. And those pieces of the open space, we are open to a lot of different options as to how that is mitigated. So at a minimum, there will be a deed restriction on the land so that it can never be developed in perpetuity. That will be a non-buildable lot of record in the town, so that chunk of land will be a non-buildable parcel. Now, if that parcel wants to be owned by the town, we would agree to that as part of the project. A lot of times the town doesn't want to own those parcels. Another option could be that the development itself, the 28 homes of the development, would collectively own a portion of that lot, not for development rights, but just as a non-buildable lot. They have 1/28 interest in that parcel, and that's another common way that these are done. And we'd be open to that as well, if that was the pleasure of the board or the town staff recommendation. We would have a deed restriction drawn up by the attorneys for the deed of the lot. We would have a homeowners association that would be formed that would carry the ownership of that lot. And usually, and we're not opposed to this, but there would be a conservation easement over that land, laying out more of the specifics, and this could be, with feedback from staff as well as for the Conservation Commission, but it would lay out, what can and can't be done there. Maintenance of existing trails, for example, if that's something that the town wants to see, so that, they have a right to continue to maintain those trails, or that the public could continue to use some of the existing trails that are on the property, that can happen. And that could be written in. And these, I can't really think of anything that the applicant would be opposed to in these. Obviously, they look at this open space as a benefit to the development as well, so they would like to have their future home buyers to be able to utilize the trail system and the benefit of some of that preserved open space. So, if that's something that the board has any strong opinion on, this might be something that Jay from the Planning Commission could weigh in on as to what, I'm sure works in other communities that does this. We certainly do, and we do it with the homeowner way. We do it as a town-owned piece, and we've also had conservation entities that take on the ownership of these pieces. That's harder to do because usually a conservation entity would only take on a parcel of land if it was in conjunction with multiple other larger parcels that abutted it. So I don't know if that would be the case in this particular instance, but either way, it would be a preserved piece of land, and and it's really in line with what your ordinances and your regulations require. And maybe it appears that some of the abutters aren't aware of some of those provisions that are really been in place now for new development.
I have a question. How do you get to the open space? I see
So,
that's a drainage easement, yeah.
So we do have an access easement there And that could also be for access to the open space. You know, we can add that in and as an easement to allow for that access. And there are some existing trails that go through the area that, you know, obviously would remain in place. There's one crossing from north to south through the property that kind of goes on that high ridge between the wetland areas there. So that one is in place. But yeah, we would show interconnected paths, and maybe we can actually call out that path on our plans just to make that more clear.
So are your plans updated? Or do you need to still update them and provide them to Jay?
So we've updated our plans based on a lot of Lou's comments. We feel that Jay's comments have been addressed in that electronic submission, but either way, just for full transparency.
I think for full transparency and for the purposes of, due diligence, I think it might be prudent to have Jay just review the updated set.
I agree.
That you provided. And when can you get that to him?
We will have everything, full hard sets dropped off to Joan this week, before the end of the week.
Okay.
So in the next, day or two, I just want to, print everything.
They will get delivered separately to each of Lou and Jay.
So you
Whatever, is that, whatever?
Yes, what I'm gonna suggest is you send a copy to Jay, send a copy to Lou, and you send a copy to
I need two
Joan.
copies.
So 2 copies to the town, and then a package, updated drainage report and plans, 1 package to you, Jay, and 1 to you, Lou?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And of course, on electronic, I'll send as well, so that could be forwarded to the board members, or,
Right.
and if you guys want paper copies, I can bring them or drop them off as well. A lot of times I'll bring 11 by 17s to the next meeting, like, just in case anybody needs a hard copy, I'll have that.
Well, it might be a good idea to bring a hard copy and provide an electronic copy as well. So. But I want them to get to Jay, and right away, and also to Lou and Joan.
Probably be a good idea if you had the half scales at the day of the site walk that you could hand out to whoever's there.
Yeah, I was gonna do a half scale of, like, I don't know if they needed the full plan set, but, I was at least gonna have that easy to read and follow with the aerial overlaid on it, so that, everybody can kind of know where they are. And I'll bring a bunch of copies of that, just so that hopefully everybody can have one. I don't really want to print, like, the 30-page, 40-page plan set, like 100 of those, but I can, I can certainly bring, a good visual, so that everybody can follow it and understand where they are. We can all be looking at the same page at the same time.
So I think what we'll do then, I'm sorry, does the board have any questions for the applicant?
Well,
Anything that you want to talk about?
I understand that you updated according to Lou's, and you're expecting Jay's plans. I had also sent in some concerns that have been echoed in public input about the yield plan.
Okay.
And because I agree, I think there's at least 3 too many lots, maybe 4, maybe more than that, on that yield plan, according to our ordinances.
So can we elaborate on that a little bit, just because
Those that require the wetland crossings and the buffer impact variances or special exceptions should not be included on the yield plan.
So, if you were gonna if you had a large area of upland that you could not access without a crossing, that would be a permissible crossing, I would assume you would still be able to utilize that as part of your yield plan, meaning that, like, let me give you an example. Let's say there's one access to the property, there's 100 acres of land behind it, and there's a wetland trench across the entire frontage. So, does that mean that that's an undevelopable lot, period? Because you have 100 acres of upland?
In our ordinances, it says the number of dwelling units permitted in a conventional subdivision plan under Litchfield zoning ordinance without any planning board waivers or zoning board of adjustments variances required.
Well, I think, and that's just something that I guess I would need feedback from Jay and Lou on that, just
I would
because.
say, so you cannot have any lot that would require a variance, or a planning board waiver. It doesn't say special exception, so a special exception for a wetland crossing, I don't think would fall under that, so long as it's
Okay.
granted. But if a lot would require a variance, or a waiver, then
And that
it
makes,
would not be allowed.
that makes sense to me, only because I think the intent would mean that if you're looking for, oh, hey, this is a funny shaped lot, or I don't have the frontage I need, but I want it to be a yield lot, that would not be appropriate. And so that makes sense. But as far as, for access to uplands, I guess, yeah, so I think what Jay said makes sense then. And so in that case, and I know that there was these comments echoed by a number of different abutters. What I would ask is that, as part of this follow-up review, I welcome Lou and Jay to review our yield plan. Your regulations have very stringent requirements on how to size lots, and it is not a easy item to accomplish. You have to have certain buildable criteria, upland areas, percentages of buildable area. You have to have a certain lot geometry to be able to justify it as a lot. And we spent a fair amount of time putting together that yield plan, and that table at the top of that yield plan really spells out all that criteria. And we feel that, that was the first step that we did, because obviously we didn't want to assume a certain number of lots, design a new development on those assumed lots, and then not have the right number of lots. So we did do that step first, and we feel confident that the yield plan is sound. But you don't have to take my word for it. I think, I would ask that Jay and Lou look at that, and if they do have concerns on the yield plan, we'd like to hear those, and, and if they don't and they agree, then, then hopefully that would provide the board comfort and that we have the right process here.
And just to follow up on that, I do agree, we are gonna have to scrutinize it closely, because there are some of these that I think are questionable.
Okay.
One item I would just put on the record, and I mentioned this last time, Jay, but you weren't here. There was an item that was asked about the viability of the lot at the bottom of the hill on Charles Bancroft. And my take on this, and this is something that, you can weigh in on as well, or, weigh in after your review. But our take was that that was a fairly conservative approach, because, as you know, this property right now is comprised of 2 lots with frontage on Charles Bancroft Highway they're like 2 long bowling alley lots that go all the way out back. And so those are 2 existing lots of record that effectively would be permitted to have a home on them. What we're doing is we're saying, out of both areas of frontage, we're only looking for 1 buildable lot out of the 2 as part of our yield plan. So in our opinion, when you have 2 existing lots of record, one of them should at least be able to be counted towards a yield, because if it isn't, then I think our position would be, just in full transparency, would be to say, if that's not a lot of record, then we would subdivide off a conventional lot on Charles Bancroft Highway and do a home there, because we feel that we have a lot of record in that location. So what we were doing is we were saying, okay, well, instead of doing a lot down on Charles Bancroft Highway, a frontage lot, and then doing a development separately, include that in the development. So we thought that that was the more reasonable way to do it. But, I mean, when you look at that land, you have 2 large lots with viable upland that could permit the development of a single-family home. So we're only taking credit for one of those lots. And so that's kind of our position on that. If the board or staff didn't feel that that should be counted, then we would probably exclude that area from the development. I'm just kind of laying that out there because it's something that you, and Jay, I can follow up with you and discuss these as you have, after you have a chance to review. But that was kind of our take on that piece. Because that was really the only one, in my opinion. I mean, I think there are some others that may require either a wetland crossing for access or a shared driveway. But, you know, all in all, when you look at the steep slopes and all the numbers taken out and everything, we believe they all work. And if there's ones that we want to talk about specifically, we can, maybe look at certain ones or something as you have a chance to review it. But I'll look at all those comments, hopefully prior to coming back at the next meeting and be able to have, we'll have updated reviews from everybody.
Well,
But I'm hoping
I expect a updated plan to Jay, Lou, and Joan. I will state that on the record.
Well, you're gonna get at least one updated plan. I'm saying it might even have two in that time,
Well,
because.
I want all the plans that need to be updated and provided to them.
Yep, so, you will have plans this week, for your re-review, and then if there's additional comments, then if there's time permits, we'll try to address those as well.
When are you scheduled to go before the zoning board? Do you have a date?
I don't believe we've been given a date yet. I can follow up with Joan on that, later this week to see.
That'd be Jeff, follow up with Jeff Blackwell, who's on the board.
Okay, yeah, I did reach out to Jeff, and I think he said he was gonna issue a, letter of denial, as part of the typical procedure, but I had not received that yet. It was submitted on the 17th, so he's, hasn't had it for that long, but,
He did say that it wouldn't make the November ZBA meeting. I believe that's what he said. I think. I'll check with him tomorrow.
If I may.
Yeah, go ahead,
Cool.
Kate, I'm sorry.
My other concern that I don't, maybe it was addressed in one of your updates, was and we may also see this with, the site walk, especially if it's old woods, how, if you're taking out a good amount of buffer, vegetative buffer between the existing houses, there should be some vegetative screening planted to replace it, to block that, the constructions and everything.
so what we did do, and we did touch on this, maybe not in a huge detail, our plans have a full 50-foot undisturbed buffer restriction across all the rear of the lots, anything that abuts property. And so we also did grading of all the lots as part of our design, to show, how these lots could potentially be built. And all that grading stays out of that buffer, so there won't be any need to cut any of that existing buffer as to how we're showing it, and it will not be allowed to be cut, so that'll be a no-cut, buffer. And, assuming this project goes forward, we would come in, our office would survey the limits of that line so that the tree cutters, know where they can cut and where they can't. And so that would be preserved. Obviously, if something was cut that shouldn't have been cut, then it would have to be supplemented.
Well, my concern is more that if it's 50 feet of old woods, you can see through that because there's no understory plants. So there should be something planted on your side of that buffer to build up that understory.
Well, I
Block
think,
that from the existing neighbors.
yeah, we can look at that. I don't believe the regulations require you to do that. We'd have to be kind of careful as to how we're, and to what degree are we planting another 1,000 trees out there or something?
It's 575.6.1D. Says where the natural visual buffer does not provide adequate screening from abutting uses, the planning board may require additional screening, either vegetative or other, to provide adequate transition.
So we should look at that
That's
when
what-
we're on the sidewalk, makes sense. If there's areas that, are, we don't feel are screened adequately, then we can, talk about those specific areas or what have you as we go.
Thank you.
When I was out there, there is some mature growth, but it still felt decently thick out there. When I was out, but we'll evaluate it, we can all look at it at the same time.
Just wanted you to know that we'd, yeah, be looking at it.
Yeah, it's gonna be a little hard to judge this time of year with all the leaves down.
I think that's the best time to judge.
But yeah, we'll only see evergreen growth.
That's right.
Yeah, deciduous growth makes a big difference during certain times of the year.
Going back, did you say that, did you have were the impact fee calculations added to the plan notes? Oh, no,
Not the ones on the site that I saw.
not on the plans that were submitted originally.
Right.
Okay. And that would be a requirement?
Yeah, right.
Okay, so just keep that in mind.
Yeah, I mean,
submitting your plans.
obviously, we're looking to have all those items, whatever's needed on there, we'll have on there. When you say, is that something that the calculations done by staff and we add, or we're supposed to calculate something, or?
It's in the ordinance, what the, calculations are.
And we just break it down and put that there?
So you just put it in.
Okay.
Yeah,
No, I'll double check that. I mean, I think my staff had looked at that, I'm not positive, because I didn't do that piece personally.
We did get a letter from Penachuk, guys?
Yeah, I think we did.
Yeah, we did.
Sorry. Yeah, this was dated October 25th, 2023. I guess I'll read it into the record. Water availability for proposed subdivision, map 18, lots 62 and 64 off Morrill Street and Pearson Street, Litchfield. Water is available when the customer completes the necessary financial arrangements, main extension and service agreement in accordance with our tariff. We have determined that individual pressure-reducing valves will be required to service the proposed subdivision. Pressure-reducing valves are the property of the landowner, and as such, the landowner is responsible for the operation and maintenance of the same. All the above described conditions are being required in accordance with Penachuk Water, New Hampshire Public Utilities Tariff. Please contact this office should you require additional information. Sincerely, Richard Philbrook, Manager of Engineering Services. So,
And one thing that, from the fire department, that you can't use Morrill Street on that, the new part.
We changed it, that's why it says Talarico Street now. We made that adjustment.
Check that with the fire department with that.
that was something submitted by the fire department?
Right.
Okay. So we'll have our site walk. I will imagine we will invite the Conservation Commission as well to that. And obviously, you folks here tonight are also invited. You are butters to the property, so you are also invited as well. November 19th, what did I say, 10 or 11? 11 o'clock in the morning, November 19th, that's Sunday. We won't be notifying abutters, so I'm just letting you guys know now. And we're gonna have to continue this hearing. I'm gonna leave the, public comment open. If anybody wants to submit any further public comment, you're welcome to do so by email, or, if you wanna submit something to our office, Joan, and so forth. You're welcome to do that. When would you like to come back to the board? I guess the question is, when will we be able to continue
December
this?
5th, we have a, public hearing on the zoning, right? Yeah.
The zoning.
5th.
And we have the other two site plans.
And obviously, I mean, there's gonna be a lot to digest in terms of,
Yes, 255.
after the site walk, so I don't know, what are you,
The 21st is out because we have the another
Okay.
big project.
when is the next date?
5th and the 19th of December.
Would you be available over the 19th of December?
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess,
Gives us plenty of time to work with staff and.
well, I think that would give you plenty of time to work with staff and be able to, go over stuff, and, by that time, more information will be coming in, and so I think that works.
You said December 19th?
Yeah.
Yep.
Does that work, is the board good with that? All right, well, I need a motion to continue this to a date and time certain, so.
I was just thinking, the other application, if that is continued, would that have to go to the 19th, or I guess we just push that back? We would push that out to January.
Yeah.
Right, okay, all right, I'll make a motion to continue to December 19th.
Okay. I have a motion to continue to December 19th. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Jared. Do I have any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, abstained, motion passes, 5-0-0. All right, thank you very much, and we will see you at the sidewalk.
Thank you.
Thank you.
To get to it.
To maintain it.
All right, the next item on the agenda this evening is committee reports.
They have a pipe where they have the drainage.
Well, the hearing's over, unfortunately. What was your question?
Oh, no, my question was, if we have comments, you said you left the comments open.
Yeah.
How do we get them to you?
You can give them, you can send them to Joan.
Email.
Email's the easiest.
Litchfield.
The town website?
Yeah, the town website.
Yeah.
I don't have to go through Litchfield WhatsApp?
No.
You don't go through Litchfield, what's up? No, you go, no.
Definitely not.
All right.
Here's what they have is the drainage. Goes down to-
Committee reports. I'll start with Kim.
Hi. Hello, everybody. We've been busy. Well, Board of Selectmen, it's normal time for warrant articles and budget, so we've been busy with that. We meet next Monday.
Except that it's comment.
Capital improvement plan, we approved the plan last night, right? And it's gonna be coming into the Board of Selectmen, I mean, actually to the Planning Board on November 21st.
Correct, that'll be the public hearing.
That'll be our public hearing, and then it'll go on to the Board of Selectmen if
And there is
everything
a
passes there.
access driveway.
Yeah.
All right. Energy Commission, we are working on offering the public community power alternative. We're trying to get surveys filled out, which close tomorrow, actually. You go online on the website and fill it out.
No,
We're also going to try to get a warrant article out of that.
probably not.
So that's where we stand there, and we have Sam Terrell here, is now the chairman of the Energy Commission.
Over here.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Any comments?
Y'all have some. All right.
I'm not gonna make a speech.
All right, economic.
I'd just like to say, I've only observed you, Michael, as a chairman, and so I'll be kind of shadowing how you conducted these meetings.
Yeah, that's how you learn.
Right, right.
Does a good job. All right, economic development, we had done our SWOT, strength, weaknesses, opportunity, and threats, and we're digesting that right now. So we're looking at any threats or, what is it, strength, opportunities, what was the W, strength,
No, you gotta-
opportunity? I forget, it's been a long day.
around.
Weaknesses, weaknesses can be turned around, right? So that should become an opportunity. All right. We're also gonna be working on a survey there to get out to the town, to figure out where they want to see this town going economic, development-wise, infrastructure-wise. NRPC, we are continuing working on our mission statement and our strategy.
But the one in the back.
10-year transportation plan, of course. And I did go to the Route 3A Corning Road meeting with David Wheeler to make sure we are still on track, so that grant hopefully stays on. So that was done. After, if it still stays on there, it will go to the governor. If the governor doesn't not reject it, it'll go to the, I think, the Senate, then the House, or the House and the Senate. So these grants aren't really free. There's a lot of work involved here. So, but we're keeping an eye on that. So far, that's looking okay. And that is all I have.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Conservation Commission met last Thursday here in Town Hall. Not much to report. We did talk a little bit about milfoil. The Lower Merrimack Local River Advisory Committee meeting was last Thursday. I didn't go because there was a conflict with the Conservation Commission meeting, so I wasn't able to attend. I know there are a couple other folks in town that are have been appointed to that commission. I'm not sure if they went. I know Pete Stone didn't go. I think he couldn't make it. But I know there was two other people, so I don't know if they went. And the CIP, We have completed the plan. It is a final plan. We approved it last night, and we are going to have a public hearing on November 21st here in Town Hall at our planning board meeting. So that'll be noticed. And that's all I have. Kate, do you have anything?
The budget committee, I'm trying to remember how many meetings we've had since since the planning board has met. We've met a few times, going over town voting, and then, so we've completed the town voting. There's still some information out there for, insurance updates and things, so it's never completely final until it goes to the budget hearing, and that will be, January, February timeframe, I believe mid-January. Then this past Thursday and then tonight, there was a joint budget and school board meeting to review the school board budget. And then the budget committee meets on November 16th to begin voting on the school budget. So the school board still needs their opportunity to make their own adjustments to the budget, and then it'll be a budget committee's turn on the 16th.
Okay, thank you.
You must be in SB2 town.
Approval of the October 17th minutes. Did anybody have I wasn't able to access my minutes. I don't know if anybody else had a problem. For some reason, it pushed me out. I couldn't get on.
Yeah, I wasn't able to access them from the portal.
It says well, now it's saying I'm offline.
The
but-
one that said it was in the trash.
But Matt
Yeah,
sent them out.
in the trash or something?
They're in your email.
They are. Oh, yes, okay.
This is from the
Good thing
October
you sent them to the
17th
email.
meeting?
I know.
Yeah.
And I like his naming
Exactly.
convention, it's very
With
good.
the minutes on the
That's
portal?
when you go to all these meetings, like,
It wasn't
which one
opening
is
up,
It wasn't opening
job.
on the portal. Mhm.
but I was trying to look at them too late to really.
Yeah.
Banging my existence.
So there was one.
Did anybody have an opportunity to look at them?
I did review them.
Good.
I read them open.
Yeah, I think there's like one potential thing that didn't seem right, but it could have been misspoken at the time of the actual meeting. I don't know, but the following motion was correct, and I think that's the most important
Turning
thing.
this poor turtle to.
Do you
Okay.
think maybe we could hold off until the next?
Sure, we can table it.
Rare turtle.
Absolutely.
Not get a chance.
Does everybody have a problem with that? or-
Nope.
All right, we'll table the approval of the October 17th minutes till next
Well, you
week.
can at least knock down my door. I said, oh, I didn't know you were.
Any other business? Jay, do you have anything?
No, I don't.
Okay. Joan, do you have anything?
No.
No. Lou? No? Okay.
I was just wondering
Yeah.
about, if the capital improvement plan hearing is on the 21st, then impact fees, we would then update from there and then have our own impact fee hearing before moving that to the Board of Selectmen? Is that right?
Well,
I mean, I guess
Can
it's
we
up.
do it more
yeah.
concurrently?
So, you mean if we revise the impact fees on the basis of the CIP?
Yes.
Then yes, we would have to, if we revise the impact fees based on the CIP, then yeah, we'd have to hold another public hearing and then make a recommendation to the selectmen.
Is that something that we can hold the public hearing the same day as the capital improvement plan public hearing?
We haven't, we'd have to update the impact fee
Yeah,
schedule
we gotta,
first.
yeah, update the,
Okay.
yeah.
So, and we haven't done that.
Okay.
We did, though, hold a public hearing on the recommendations from the last update, so that's already happened,
That's right, but that was put on hold
waiting for the CIP.
or, yeah, so I'm just trying to figure out how can we make our own, from my understanding, the Board of Selectmen wants to see another recommendation from the planning board based on this newest capital improvement plan. And correct me if I'm wrong on that. And before moving forward with any impact fee changes. Is that something that we could try to plan for first meeting in December?
I mean, we.
Well, here's the thing. Last night's CIP, it was agreed that we would do the 21st for the public hearing.
Mhm.
Then we do the presentation on the November 27th to the Board of Selectmen for the
Okay.
CIP.
Right, okay.
So, I don't know how you wanna,
Right, so
So the
once the
planning board
selectmen
needs to
adopt
meet-
it, then we have a
Yeah.
new CIP, and then we I mean, I can say pretty readily, the thing that would be impacted by the updated CIP is the school.
Okay.
That's the biggie. And, and that would be the exercise for doing that would be really pretty simple because the formula's already there. What changes is the cost of the school, which needless to say is higher than when we did it last. So doing that in terms of the calculation, we could do that pretty readily. But then we would have to post that for public hearings, so realistically, we probably couldn't hold a public hearing on, I'm guessing, just thinking of math, until at least the second, probably the soonest would be the second meeting in December,
Okay,
if we moved quickly.
okay. I'd like to try to move quickly, if we can.
Okay.
As I said, I mean,
That's right.
it's really pretty simple, it's just, the assumptions are all the same, it's just the number that's different, so that's just math.
We just need the different, yeah, as long as, this is like assuming that each public hearing goes and is accepted through that
That's
public
right.
hearing, right,
Of
without
course.
any
Of course.
changes.
So we
or
would
anything.
have a hearing
That would
on
be the
that in
soonest.
December? Is that what you're saying?
It'd be the soonest, because we have to wait until the CIP is adopted.
Right.
And then we could do the
Okay.
updated schedule, but then we'd have to follow the public hearing requirements.
Right.
For the planning boards, and that's why I'm saying the soonest would be the 20th, probably.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody have anything else?
I'm not sure, Kim, did you mention so we have for the Energy Committee, there's a public hearing on November 20th. It's the first public hearing.
I did
What
not
are you-
mention
what
that.
is
So
the-
is that gonna be the warrant article wording, or is that gonna be the results of the brochure?
So we're
I think the
reviewing
results
the
are in the
results
warrant
this
article.
week.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna approve the draft energy, the community power plan. And then the first public hearing on that plan will be November 20th. Monday I have 7 PM here.
Is that, just about the energy,
It's called the community power plan.
Right.
Yeah.
so the hearings on that,
Yes.
and the results of the survey?
Yeah, the results of the survey will
Should
be in the
by
plan.
then, yeah. It closes tomorrow, survey.
All right, very good. I have nothing else left this evening, so I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So me?
All right, have a second?
Second.
Second by Sam. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, abstain, motion passes 5-0-0. Thank you for joining us this evening, and we will see you, the next meeting, is the 21st of November. Have a good night.